What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another video. I'm Brandon with EndFaze Games, and for today's video I wanted to put out a little bit of information. I know there's a lot of new players in Sorcery Contested Realm, and with the big Crossroads event coming up and all of the store championship type cornerstone events coming up, I wanted to kind of put out some information as far as what to expect from a bigger event such as Crossroads, and how to kind of prepare, not really like deck type stuff, but just like convention stuff, stuff that you kind of don't really think about when you're going to a bigger event, and like what to expect. So if this is anybody's first time going to GenCon, last year was my first time going to GenCon. It's an absolute blast. You're going to be around a ton of people. The crowds are going to be crazy. The lines are probably going to be long. If you can get there early on Thursday, to kind of experience the convention itself before you get into like your events and stuff like that, I would definitely recommend that. Whatever you're kind of hunting for, if you have any boosts that you want to get to, I know a lot of us are going to be going right to the sorcery booth and, trying to get the Dragon Lord set since it's going to be legal in the Crossroads event. So that's first on my list. And then there's a couple other boosts that I'm going to be trying to hit. But Thursday, I'm just going to get there as early as I can, experience the convention itself, walk around, look at a bunch of stuff, probably buy too much stuff, get the Dragon Lord, like I said, and get prepared for the weekend with the bigger events. Simple things that you'll want to remember. So obviously bring your cards with you, bring your decks with you, make sure you have extra sleeves, make sure that your sleeves for your deck are the right type for the event. You want to make sure that you can't see through the back of them, make sure that they're tournament legal. That's the word that I was searching for there. And just make sure you have extras, because there's going to be draft events, sealed events, stuff like that. You're going to need sleeves for that. So just whatever, if you want to go with a different color from what you normally run in your regular constructed deck, if you just wanted to like buy some cheaper sleeves that it's just for your sealed and limited events, you can do that. Whatever floats your boat for that. But that's definitely what I would recommend. Just double check all of your stuff before you make the trip to Indianapolis. Make sure you have your cards, make sure you have any, your trades, stuff like that, your binder, any bulk, like if you're going back and forth on some decks, or you might have some second thoughts, or if something crazy comes out of Dragon Lord and it just flips, just your brain flips out and you're going to switch to a Dragon Lord deck or something like that, bring some extra cards. Just make sure you're prepared for that kind of thing. As far as the Crossroad event itself, this will be the biggest sorcery event to date. I believe there's like 10 tickets-ish left right now. I think the last time I checked it was like 13, so I'm just kind of estimating right now. Last year, I think it was capped at 64. It was not like a Crossroads event or anything. What can you expect from the Crossroad event itself, just based on, with me being part of last year's GenCon event and some other, bigger events and other card games. The sorcery community is great. You're going to encounter tons of super nice people. And I would just practice your deck. Whatever deck that you're going to run, I would probably build 3 decks right now and practice them until you decide which one you're going to stick with, and then just grind that out as much as you can, get as many reps in as possible. You'll want to know your deck's intricacies in and out, know all of the rulings, stuff like that, because sorcery is sort of a gentleman's game, and it has a it's pretty lenient on takebacks, and takebacks are kind of part of sorcery. But if you do, if you're thinking about a card and you have it in your hand and you lay it down, and let's say you change your mind and then you put that card back in your hand, well, now your opponent has ammo against you if you do, roll that takeback all the way, because there's really not a lot of interaction from your opponent on your turn. So let's say if I put down, a Vile Imp out and then I'm like, I'm going to change my mind and I'm going to put out this other minion instead. Well, now my opponent knows that I have a Violent in hand. So now they know what I'm playing on the board and they know what's in my hand. So you want to, with a bigger event like this, it doesn't get as sweaty as some other events that I've taken a part of in the past. I got my kitty cat running around in the background. It doesn't get kind of, super, like, it is a competitive event, and, there is some good prizing on the line, but that's something that comes with the reps and knowing your deck. And, I'm not perfect at it. There's, like I said, it's a great community. Your opponent's probably, like, they're not going to care. Like, if you take that card back, and that's just more info to them. You're really helping out your opponent more than anything else. So I would just kind of build like 3 decks, like I said, pick the one that you want, probably narrow it down to 1 probably by the beginning of July, and then just, run it and practice it, know it, sleep it, breathe it, live it, that kind of thing. Outside of that, like, as far as like what I think you can expect as far as Dragon Lord, I think that there's going to be some powerful cards in it, and I think that some people are going to put it in the decks. I think that, we've seen a few of the cards. I don't know if anybody's going to be brave enough to run the Dragon Lord. I know that somebody's probably going to. So I'm really interested to see what's in that box, what other cards, and see if it's worthwhile putting into the deck that I'm going to run. With the Crossroad event itself, it is kind of uncharted territory because it is a mixed format event. So it's going to start out constructed, then it goes draft, then it goes back to constructed. Practice drafting. I'm not the best at drafting. I'm not too thrilled about drafting being in it. I think it's sort of a way to nerf Archimago, if I'm being completely honest. Because then, it's just not 7 rounds of Archimago. But just familiarize yourself with the draft format. You can practice it on Tabletop Simulator. Watch some other videos of some other content creators that have done some draft content, stuff like that, and just kind of learn the process of the draft and passing the packs and what to choose, what to look for, that kind of thing. And then moving back into constructed, then you kind of you're getting back into the flow of constructed. So it's going to be real interesting to see, how that flow impacts the game and the event itself. Also, what can you expect from the event as far as, I believe, official timing? I don't remember the official time of a round. I think mostly it's like 45 minutes. I can go based on experience that the round will be longer than that because people will go into turns, and those turns, they're already out of time, so they're going to be taking a little bit of additional time to think through their process because they're likely, they're near the end of their game, obviously, because they're down to turns, but it might be a double death door kind of thing. So I would expect, if you're done with your round, if you want to stick around and hang out in the sorcery area to just be prepared for the next round, that's good to do. Or you can, run and check out some of the con and get back. Usually, I don't know what time they're going to do, like a lunch or something like that. Usually there's kind of a break involved. Usually it's after like the second round. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that as well, because that's the break for when it switches to draft. So if there's 2 rounds of constructed, and then let's say, they do an hour break, and then you draft, and drafting, like, they're going to have to organize the pods, and then you're going to have to, pass your packs around, build your decks. That's going to take some time too. So I think overall, the event, it's going to be a long haul basically. And I can't remember if they're splitting the top 8 into Sunday. I know that was initially the plan. I don't know if that's still the plan. So just make sure you pack some snacks. just fuel your body, bring some water, and just do that kind of thing in the event, because you don't want to have to run and rush around and go get food and then spend more money on food when you can buy a shiny cardboard with it. And just, try to prepare as best as you can. As far as what I can think to expect deck-wise, I think Archimago it's largely considered the deck to beat. But right now, I think it's in a weird spot because a lot of events are, self-banning Archimago, and some of them are banning the ring. So in my opinion, I think a lot of people, it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement right now with, like, when you're playing in person, like, Archimago is not really too fun to play against, so people aren't playing it. They might be practicing it online, or they're running it, in these online events, because Archimago just won that last event, the online series. But that's online. Like, you're not having to look at your opponent across the table and be like, okay, I'm playing Archimago. Get ready to have a lot of fun. So I don't know, like, an Archimago is not easy to pilot. Like, it's a hard deck to run. It does have a good win rate, but it'll be interesting to see how much of Archimago shows up. And, I would not recommend somebody to just build a deck that week that they've never ran and just, like, best deck I win kind of thing, because there's a lot of really good players in Sorcery, a lot of creative players, and, running a deck the first time in a 128 person event, that's kind of wild. So I'm interested to see how much Archimago shows up. I think there's going to be a decent helping of Sorcerer. There's going to be a lot of Druid. Avatar of Air is still really good. There's some interesting Pathfinder builds going around right now. And then there's some rogue decks. I have a deck that I run that I put on here called Silent Insults. That was, I think, last week I posted my deck with that. It's running pretty good. I don't know if that's going to be the deck that I run for GenCon, but it's fun to play, not too difficult, and it wins some games. And that's all you can ask for when you play a card game. Trying to think if there's anything else I may have missed. Bring money. GenCon's not cheap. You're going to want to buy a lot of stuff. I'd recommend buying some Sorcery stuff. Their booths are always really cool. Last year, Arthurian Legends had a bunch of spoiler cards out in their glass case, and the cards were spinning around and they looked super cool. I don't know if there's going to be any Gothic in the case this year. I can, fingers crossed. I hope that they do. But I think there's going to be, some Dragon Lord spinning around. And I don't think they'll have the Dragon Lord cards out, because I don't think they want you to see them before you get them out of the box. Maybe like Saturday they have some out spinning around in the case or something, once people have had the chance to, get to the booth and get their box and open it up, that kind of thing. But other than that, just be safe when you're traveling to Indianapolis for GenCon. Parking is expensive, so just try and get wherever you're getting. Try and get there a little bit early. Me and my friends, we usually Uber in. We stay at a hotel kind of outside of downtown, and then we just Uber in and then stay for the entire event, and then get back and then hang out in the room. I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of the support. I'm going to get to practicing on Tabletop Simulator here in a little bit. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.